Okay, now we're going to have a look and see how we can find the prime factors of a number. So the prime factors of a number, I would use this method here. So I tend to draw just a little grid like this to start with, and then we're going to put in the number that we're looking at. So for example, here we have 72. Now you need to know your prime numbers, obviously, to help you with this one. And if it helps you, write out the first sort of, the prime numbers up to 20 will generally be enough for you here, certainly up to 10. So your prime numbers we're going to consider today are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and 19. We may go outside of these, but these will certainly be enough to get you started. So when we look at 72, I would tell you to find the smallest prime number that will go into 72. Well, it's an even number, so we can divide by 2. So 72 divided by 2 will give you 36. We can then draw another line here. Smallest prime number that will go into 36 again is 2, and that will give you 18. Smallest prime number to go into 18 will be 2, which would give you 9. And the smallest prime number that goes into 9 will be 3, and that would give you 3. So we put that down here. And then 3 itself is prime, so it can only be divided by itself, and that will give you 1. Once you have 1 down here, you know that you've found all of the prime factors. So these numbers here are the prime factors of 22. So you can say the prime factors of 72, are 2 and 3. So your prime factors are 2 and 3. If you wanted to write 72 as a product of its prime factors, you could write it like this. So we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And you could write this with indices as we have 2 to the power of 3 times 3 to the power of 2. Okay, so this is in index form, and this is just written out as a straight sum there. And if you want to check, so 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24, and 24 times 3 will be 72. So let's go over now and have a look at 55. So 55, again, draw your grid like this, and we're going to fill in 55 at the top. So the smallest prime number that will go into 55 would be 5, and 55 divided by 5 will give you 11. Now the smallest prime number that will go into 11 is itself, because 11 is a prime number. So we would divide by 11 and we would end up with 1 here. This means we found all of our prime factors. So the prime factors of 55 are 5 and 11. And if we want to write 55 as a product of its prime factors, we would write 5 times 11. And there's no need for indices here because none of the numbers are repeated. Let's go and have a look at 87 now. So 87, to find the prime factors of 87, we have to put 87 here. We then need to think of the smallest prime number that will go into 87. So it can't be divided by 2 because it's odd. The next thing to check is if it can be divided by 3, and 8 plus 7 is 15. So we can divide by 3, and 3 will go into 87 29 times. So we've now divided there. So we now need to think about how the smallest prime number that will go into 29. Well, 29 is prime itself. So again, we can stop here, and 29 divided by 29 will give us 1. So we've found all of our prime factors. So the prime factors of 87 are 3 and 29, and we can write the sum like that. Okay, so that would be 87 written as a product of its prime factors. Let us now go and have a look at the final example, which is 168. So this is well outside of our times tables knowledge, but that again won't be a problem if you're systematic in your approach. So we put 168 here. The smallest prime number that will divide into 168 will be 2, because it's an even number, and 168 divided by 2 would be 84. Now the smallest prime number that will go into 84 again will be 2, so we can divide by 2, and 84 divided by 2 will be 42. The smallest prime number that will go into 42 again will be 2, and that would give us 21. The smallest prime number that will go into 21 is 3, and 21 divided by 3 will give us 7. And the smallest prime number that will go into 7 is 7, because 7 itself is prime, and that will give us 1. So we've now found all of the prime factors for 168, and the prime factors for 168 are 2, 3, and 7. And if we were to write 168 as a product of its prime factors, we could write 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 7, or using index form, this would be 2 to the power of 3 times 3 times 7.